Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Birds at the Rodeo. I am Eric, your residential Eagles fan.
I'm Orlando, the resident Cowboys fan.
And this is Birds at the Rodeo podcast. This is episode 9, guys. We're in episode 9. Can you believe it?
No, I mean, only because I've been here doing it every week. I can, but man, it's been a long time coming for sure.
Right. No, man. Hey, thank you for everybody tuning in, everybody listening on the podcast, watching it via YouTube, however you're intaking us right now. I appreciate it. Lando appreciates it. And yeah, man, we got a lot to get to tonight.
Absolutely.
We got a lot to get to. So
absolutely.
Let's head straight into it, man. I'm going to let you have the floor on y'all's game. I'm just going to let you have the floor. So before we get to that, let's talk about the positives. All right. The Philadelphia Eagles played outstanding football this past Sunday. In all 3 phases, I genuinely have no complaints. I have no concerns. My only thing to say is let's keep this train rolling. I'm cautiously optimistic. We played Jacksonville this week. We should flat out dominate these guys. It's that simple. Jacksonville, they haven't had a great season. Me personally, I'm not a firm believer in Trevor Lawrence yet. Shout out to Doug Peterson. He brought us the Super Bowl. I'm not saying he's not the guy for Jacksonville, but I don't know. They just lost Christian Kirk for the season. You know, their second best wide receiver. Some would argue their best wide receiver. I'm saying all this to say, I mean, we just found out they traded their left tackle Cam Robinson to the Vikings, right? So Jacksonville, they could be in complete sell mode right now, right? So I'm saying all this to say, the Philadelphia Eagles should go in there and flat out dominate these guys, run them over, run them off the field. And that's what I'm expecting. I need to continue to see decisive quarterback play from Jalen Hurts, which I've seen, and I love it. I need to continue to see the offensive script, come out better. We didn't score in the first quarter, but it's okay. I'm not even mad about that because we moved the football. The offense looked good to start. We just couldn't finish. That's all. And I'm not mad at that as long as we're moving the football, all right? Kellen Moore finally said, all right, you know what? Let's get Jalen Hurts under center a little bit more, and let's run the football. And lo and behold, we did it, and we were able to move the football, right? That's all I cared about. Defense, man, we're starting to figure it out, bro. We're starting to figure it out. We're starting to get turnovers. The sacks are starting to come in waves. Literally, there's no position where I'm like, I'm nervous about. I'm still advocating for Nolan Smith to become a full-time starter over Bryce Huff. Defense looked really good. We're getting turnovers. And like I said before, sacks are coming in waves. There's honestly not one position I'm like overly concerned about. Honestly, I thought about it as I was watching the game. I was like, you know what? Like, I don't think we need to make any like major trades or major moves. Deadline's coming up in less than a week. Yeah, man. Honestly, I feel like I watched a pretty flawless football game across the board. Like I said, Jalen Hurts played phenomenal in my opinion. Offensively, I think we played a pretty flawless game. We got the run game going. We got the pass game going. Everybody was making plays. Grant Calcaterra, our backup tight end, stepped up. He stepped up every time his number's been called this season so far with Dallas Goedert being in and out of the lineup a lot. Fred Johnson, our backup left tackle, he played really well against Trey Henderson, one of the best and underrated defensive ends in the game. He held his own a lot. Truly, I have no concerns. I have no quips. I have no negative things to say. I just, hopefully, we can figure out how to like punch it in the end zone in the first quarter, get some points on the board early. But honestly, I have nothing bad to say. I have no complaints. Nick Sirianni managed the game well. I genuinely have nothing bad to say.
Must be nice. Must be nice.
And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let my co-host have the floor and say whatever it is you feel the need to say right now, man.
I mean, like I said before the game, this was the game that Mike Zimmer's job was riding on, Mike McCarthy, and I'm done. I didn't like what I saw from either side of the ball.
Right.
In terms of scheme, I think that had Jordan Mason played, he would have had over 100 yards, just like
everybody else has, basically.
Garendo, that's his name. Isaac Garendo, just he had 100 scrimmage yards. Should have.
Oh, did he end up with 100 scrimmage yards?
He had, I think it was like whatever. It was over 100 because receiving and rushing.
Right.
Should have had 2 touchdowns, but decided to just kneel it down at the end.
Yeah.
So defensively awful. Offensively, I mean, I just don't.
I saw the first pick by Dak. I didn't see the second one. You think it's the scheme's fault in the end? Like not
the exact same thing is true.
Yeah.
Every time Dak Prescott drops back to throw the ball,
he's liable
to be intercepted simply because nobody is open unless the throw is absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
The defender has just as much chance, and I expressed that to a friend of mine who just loves to just say how bad we are, like the Cowboys are as a whole, just as a Cowboys hater. Mm-hmm. And he was like, "Oh, why not just throw it away?" He would have to throw the ball away every time if he was waiting for a receiver to get open.
Right.
If you can't throw with anticipation, you can't throw receivers open or like attempt to throw receivers open without like them actually like with that. You know what I'm saying? Like if they're not open yet, that doesn't mean you just can't throw them. You have to hope that he beats his man, and that never happens.
A lot of times in the NFL, like, I mean, you got to throw dudes open, right? But it's also on the receiver. You know, like if you can't get any separation, and part of that's on the receiver, part of that's on the scheme, right? Whatever the design play is, right? I heard I can't remember who said it, but like somebody said recently, you know, interceptions. Oh, it was Sean King, former NFL quarterback Sean King. He said like interceptions a lot of the time are not even the quarterback's fault, which I'll probably say like. I probably agree. I agree with that. Probably like 40% of the time, but a lot goes into a turnover. A lot of times, right? It's not always as simple as like, oh my god, what a horrible throw. And like, you know, it's funny. I was talking to one of my coworkers. He's a diehard Cowboys fan like you, and he flat out asked me, he's like, so what are your thoughts on like Dak and everything? And I told him like, I don't think it's all on Dak. You know, I expressed what you've said on many times on the show so far. You know, Mike McCarthy and this archaic offense, right? Like. I mean, Dak can only do so much. CD can only do so much running 3 routes, right? Like, you know, if you're not scheming guys open, you're only going to be able to do so much. You're already playing at a disadvantage, right? Because you're a one-dimensional offense at this point, right? Y'all can't run the football, right? Like,
no, actually, we did. We ran the football fine. We just abandoned the run, and then
against the 49ers,
we run the ball just fine, and then we abandoned the run, and then we run the wrong. The scheme is also terrible with the run game.
Yeah.
Our first third down was a 3rd and 5 fullback dive with Hunter Lipke. That's awful play calling. We can't do anything outside of that. It's really crippling this offense where it's Mike McCarthy is making it as hard as possible for this team to be successful.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, we went away from the run game early, but we don't also have to run it on every first down. I think that that's very predictable.
Yeah.
And then I can't admit that. So the first pick Dak threw, I think that he got blown up by Nick Bosa, and so which caused the underthrow. I think that out of there. Turpin might have had a chance to catch that. And then the second one, while nobody was open, I do think that was just a bad decision. I don't know what he kind of thought what he could do with that pass, but then still nobody. So nobody was open, but it was also still a bad decision. Yeah. So it's like it's 50-50. But at the end of the day, when the defense is giving up points every drive and your offense can't move down the field,
right?
It's
hard.
You're not going to win games.
No.
And then on the flip side, something that really bothers me with Cowboys, like the Cowboys fans and just the football sports talk in general, is how when if the game is not over, the game is not over.
Yeah.
These aren't garbage time stats. The game was still in.
No, y'all almost came back.
And the thing is, I know people are going to say that the 49ers let their foot off the gas, which I'm not going to deny. I think that might be true. Yeah. But if you see the plays we scored on, if you see the plays we ran when moving down the field, they were completely different from the plays we ran in the first half. The plays we ran to score on that CD got wide open on both times were plays that the 49ers were running all game to demolish us. George Kittle ran so many crossers on Donovan Wilson.
National tight end.
And ran and just was getting. That's how when that happens. Yeah. When you have to cross in front of each other, you have to go around, and it makes it harder for the defender. They're
essentially pick routes.
Exactly, and I'll get to that in another. Put a pin in that one, but it's the same thing. Like It's clear. It clearly works.
Yes.
So I don't understand why we choose not to run it, and then when we do, it works. And then as soon as we got the ball back after the defense finally got a stop, we went away from that. We went right back to the route shrub. Those last 4 plays we ran were the exact. They were right back to what we were running in the first half. It was almost like Mike McCarthy was like, "Oh, we got a chance. Now we got to win it." No, you cannot win football games that way, Mike McCarthy. That's why you lost your job in Green Bay. It's why you and Aaron Rodgers fell out. It's why you're about to lose your job here in Dallas. And I will be very surprised if you find another coaching job. The NFL has moved past the offense you are trying to run. It needs motion. It needs crossing. It needs
creativity.
Yes, absolutely. It needs more than what you're doing.
Yeah,
it's not going to work that way. And so the offense, we finally were able to move. Like I said, finally were able to move the ball. Finally were able to score touchdowns. And then I got to give a shout out to our defense, because I know I did say earlier in the season that if our defense gave up that amount of points, but in this instance, they got the stop when they needed to. Right. It was up to our offense. Yeah. But I got to say, that's like the most obviously it's the most recent instance, but I can't think of an instance before that where that was the case, and it wasn't the exact opposite. The offense went down, got points, and just needed the defense to get one stop, and they just could not do it. That's happened so many. So credit to our defense for it not being the case this time. Yeah. But I'm just more really at a loss because Mike McCarthy, he was one drive away. Yeah. From completely turning that narrative around. Right. Because he did what we needed to do, and it worked. So I'm just insanely confused on why he went away from it. Yeah. Another thing that I would like to criticize Dak Prescott for is not only the turnovers, it's his lack of deciding when to run the ball. I'm not seeing him run the ball pretty much at all this season. Yeah. It's clear he's not allowed to run the ball. Jerry even came out and said that they pretty much don't want him to run the ball. Quarterback to run the ball
since the ankle injury.
Yeah, and even last year after the ankle injury, he was at his best when I think Do
you feel like he's moved the same since that injury?
I think it has dwindled down, but last year just what he did last year in the run game was enough. Right, he's even completely regressed. From
and you're talking about him as a scrambler, not him necessarily extending plays, but him scrambling.
Him as a scrambler, him extending plays. Even I remember in the Chargers game, he scored from 20, 30 yards out on a read option. Yeah, like that's just not even in our playbook anymore. Yeah, and it's coming from the top down. Jerry, but it's not just Jerry making that. Mike McCarthy is also
making that call.
Yeah, it's a group decision from everybody on the top saying that they don't want him to run the ball. They don't want to risk the injury. And
you heard Jerry say that?
Yeah, he came out and said it today. I think that's the problem really crippling our offense because, in my opinion, I think just like Jalen Hurts, just like a lot of other quarterbacks in the league, they're at their best when they pose a real threat to be able to run the ball.
That's football nowadays, right? Like your quarterback needs to be able to get out and make plays in space.
In this game, I tweeted it. I was like, "This might sound crazy, but I think we got to put a spy on Brock Purdy."
This might sound crazy. He was making some plays.
That alone might have been
crazy.
That might have been the difference maker in that game. His ability to extend plays, his ability to get out of the pocket and run the ball, and I think he had around 56 yards rushing in that game. And it's little things like that where it's like you have to look at the rest of the league and see what's working. Right. You can't just think you're going to be different, especially 7 weeks into the season when you see it does not work. Right.
You're just lost. You're at a loss for words.
Oh, I have plenty of words for it. But I just don't understand it. I mean, and now it's not all on the scheme. I think there are players specifically that are doing terribly. Donovan Wilson. I mean, it's almost he needs to be benched. I understand George Kittle is he's an amazing
second best tight end in football right now.
He's an all-time tight end at this point. Yes. But you got to be better, Donovan Wilson, because it wasn't just in this game. It's been all season.
All season.
Smith, I'm not the biggest PFF guy, Pro Football Focus. I don't really believe in them.
Yeah.
But there's not their rankings aren't just completely out of the like.
Where's Mozzie at right now?
119. Take a wild guess out of how many, Eric?
D tackles?
Yes.
Oh my God, probably 130.
119. He's last in the PFF rankings. So they're not the PFF rankings aren't the end all be all. But if you're last, there's got to be some truth to that.
Oh, Mozzie, my Michigan guy. What's going on?
Terrible. And I mean, I just don't like what I'm seeing from a lot of guys individually.
Yeah.
Love what I saw from Demarion Overshown again.
He's a stud. He's a stud.
He's playing great at the linebacker position. The one sack we got on the most crucial drive of the game for the defense came from him. And they said it was one of the fastest sacks of the season.
He's a stud.
He shot out of a rocket on that play.
He's fast too. Like he's sideline to sideline speed. He's fast.
And so and with that being our only sack, I said coming into the game we were never able to get pressure on Brock Purdy, and throughout the game we still weren't able to get pressure on him. And lo and behold, when we did, we finally got a stop.
Yeah.
And it proved a glaring hole in my eyes. It showed me something that I'll really be paying attention to.
Which is what?
When number 11 comes back, I am going to be laser focused on what he does, on what he brings to this team.
Micah Parsons, where you at, dog?
Because I've made sure to fact check this. In our games against the 49ers, since he's been on the team, 0 sacks. Nick Bosa, he makes plays every single week for us. Not for us.
For the 49ers,
for the Niners
Myles Garrett.
and against us.
Right.
Micah, we're gonna need it. If you claim to be on their level, you've shown to be on their level in some games. Like them, right? You want to be paid to be on that level. Yep. We're going to have to see it. Yep. You're going to have to be a game breaker.
See, and I'm glad to hear you say that because like I said, when I was talking to my coworker, about the state of the Cowboys earlier, and I also brought up like Micah Parsons, right? And I was like, y'all got a decision to make on him real soon, right? And I'm like, you pay him, but I don't know if you pay him what he wants right now because, from my eyes at least, he shows up like a good 70% of the time. But like you said, you just said it in the 49 game against the big games against the 49ers, you had to show up. Game against the Packers. Now, granted, y'all whole defense didn't show up that day, but he didn't show up either, right? He's supposed to be the leader, right. So hey man, you supposed to be a game breaker, dude. And I thought it was crazy when they were saying it, but dudes was comparing him to Lawrence Taylor, bro. But I mean, heck,
it's when he is affecting
the
games,
talent is there. It's there.
It's the consistency of Lawrence Taylor. The flashes when he is making plays. I can see why they would say that. Because it's like what Lawrence Taylor did. He was when Micah makes a play, it might look like that, but Lawrence Taylor did that every game, almost every play. So Micah would have to be at that consistently.
Micah can literally he has the talent to be the best defensive player right now in the league, right? The problem is, like you said, the consistency or lack thereof, right? And maybe it's also because I don't know, if I remember correctly, you were kind of did you have an issue with the way y'all were using him before?
No, I like him as a DN. I do wish
because he used to be in the back end a little bit more, in terms of the front seven. He used to be out an off-ball linebacker a little bit more, right? Before.
Well, so his rookie season, his very first game, we played the Bucks. He was off-ball linebacker, kind of playing in where the linebackers normally play. But ever since then, he's pretty
been
much
edge player,
been exclusively on the line. And I wish they would. Well, especially, I was really calling for it last year when our linebacker core was decimated, by far our weakest link on the team. This year, now that we have Eric Kendricks, we have
Demarion
Overshown, Maris, Leah Fowl. We have some guys back there, but so it's these guys. They've been injured this season, so as a team, but I think even healthy, they didn't look the best. So they're
linebackers wise,
the defense as a whole. So they're kind of skating by right now on the potential that they could come back once they become healthy. They could be better.
Getting Micah back, DeMarcus back, Deron Bland. What's up? Is he? I mean.
No, he was. I don't know what's going on. He was supposed to be back, but there were chances that he came back before the bye.
Right.
Sat through the bye and then sat after the bye. So I guess he must have had a setback maybe in practice,
right.
maybe the injury was worse than they kind of let on. But yeah, he's not back. He's not back yet.
Yeah.
And so like I said, our defense, they kind of have injuries to kind of lean back on.
Yeah.
But offensively, another thing with the scheme is our receivers just aren't good enough, man.
See,
outside of CeeDee Lamb,
right? I said that too. Like,
it's tough. Jalen Tolbert, he shows up when he can.
Yeah. But they're not number 2 receivers though.
They're not.
Yeah.
That play at the end of the game, Cavante
he had that. Yeah.
I mean, put it right where only he can catch it.
That. Oh man, yeah.
That's just a pass he has to catch.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's at the end of the day, he's an undrafted UFL.
Like, you shouldn't expect him to make that play,
right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel you.
And so that's just the team that Jerry has left us with.
Yeah.
And see, I'm the type of player. I'm the type of fan, and when I watch, I blame each person for each thing specifically. The team building, Jerry's fault, and I've said it. For me to come out there and say to blame Jerry for anything, I'm gonna blame him for the team not being good enough. Right. If there's something for Mike McCarthy to be blamed for, it's gonna be for the offensive scheme. Now it's for the play calling to be bad, the decision making, in terms of clock management, right? Things that the coach is directly responsible for. When it comes to blame, people love to hate on Dak, blame him for everything. Yeah. No, until I see open receivers and Dak either missing them with bad throws or missing them just not being able to read them, then I will blame. Or he's fumbling on the snaps. That's what I will blame Dak Prescott for. Right. When it comes to the receivers, when they're not getting open or they're dropping passes, that's what I'll blame. It's like each person has a specific role on a team. So it just baffles me when people try to blame one person for everything or one group. Like when I say Mike McCarthy it's his fault, and I'm talking about the bad play calling. The bad play calling is his fault. Yeah. When I tell you this is all, it's the team aspect of the team not being good enough. That's his fault.
Do you feel like? And I'm assuming you feel like the rest of Cowboys Nation, are they piling it on Dak right now, or what?
Oh, it might be at an all-time low right now.
The love for Dak right now.
Personally, the only other person I know that is as high and can actually look at things. I mean, I feel like I'm looking at things objectively. Yeah. Is my younger brother. Other than him, everybody I know is just it's Dak's fault.
Yeah, get him out of there. Yeah. No, I think it. I mean, look, man, I said it when the season started, and I'll say it again, man. I truly feel like the Cowboys were lacking at a few key positions. And I also feel like, because I'm going to ask you a pivotal question, but before I get there, what was your take on, because I'm sure you saw the Trayvon Diggs interaction with the reporter.
Yes, that's bad by Trayvon Diggs. And he actually did play a very good game. I saw, and defensively, so I would understand his frustration,
because I only saw his reaction. What was that question? I don't.
So it was the play would happen. It was Donovan Wilson got completely just torched by George Kittle on a basic crossing route, right? And it went downfield, and the Trayvon Diggs basically saved a touchdown because there were people in front of him trying to make the tackle, and he kind of just was kind of just playing safety because it was a open field. George Kittle was running with blockers, and he was kind of running. The way it looked like he wasn't really giving much effort. But to me, it seemed
Trayvon
like he
Diggs.
was. Yeah, but to me, it just seemed like there were people closer to him who might make the tackle, and he was trying to kind of save because he was the last person. Right. He was the one who made the tackle. Right. It was just way farther downfield. So you kind of see what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So. It kind of what the reporter said. The reporter quoted it and was kind of "What is Trayvon Diggs doing on this play?" And he came out, and so he immediately, I'm guessing he
we saw
fully padded up, got to his locker, and went to Twitter and searched Trayvon Diggs, and so that tweet was popped up, and so he immediately walked out and confronted the reporter about it. Now that I don't agree with at all. I think at the end of the report, I as a person who wants to be a part of the media, I think that reporter was just doing his job, right? Even if
Trayvon can feel a way about it,
even if the reporter was wrong, about like what was going on the play because we don't, as reporters, as the media, we don't know what is like people's assignments are and what's going on
any given play. Yeah,
so he could be wrong, but to just come out, it's just a bad look, especially at a time like this, especially when it seems that the walls are crumbling down on you. That only.
I think maybe that's more so what it was, right? The frustration of the game, the frustration on the season, and unfortunately that reporter just decided to talk about Trayvon Diggs in that exact moment, and Trayvon Diggs had time that day.
Right.
But let me ask you this, man. Like, for you as a Cowboys fan, is the season over?
I don't know how they recover from this. In terms of just because they don't seem to be willing to change anything,
right?
I just don't see how, without any changes, with what we've seen, the product that's put on the field, I don't see that being successful down the road.
Yeah. Okay.
So week in, week out, going based off of, I'll be able to predict like win or losses, but it all depends on what they're willing to do and if they're willing to change. And I can say week in, week out if they're willing to do that, it can be better. But until they do, it won't be.
Yeah. So let's go down this hypothetical. If the season is in fact quote unquote over for y'all, which means like no NFC Championship game, right? Like maybe y'all skate into the playoffs, whatever. Or you know what? Let's go down this scenario. Let's say Jerry and the Cowboys brass, they say, you know what? All right, like this season's not it. Whatever. Let's try to get the highest draft pick we can. Whatever. Blah blah blah. Right. So let's say y'all end up with the 11th overall draft pick. Right. What position do you even address? Right. Because I mean, do you draft a number 2 wide receiver to play opposite CD? Do you draft a left tackle so you can finally slide Tyler Guyton over to right tackle like he should be? Do you draft a D tackle? Do you draft a running back? Right? Do you take a Ashton Jeanty out of Boise State? Like what would you do?
I think that the offensive line can improve in terms of the players we have. I think a lot of them are young. They still have time to get better.
There's Terrence Steele.
Yeah, Terrence Steele needs to go. But the rest of the line, I think,
because I don't think Tyler Guyton's that bad. I just think he's playing out of position.
I don't think he's that. I think he has plenty of time to improve. But also with Terrence Steele being bad, Zach Martin, I'm calling it now. I think this will be his last season.
Is he? Yeah, you think he's done?
Yes, and that was actually something I kind of thought going into the season. I thought would be his. Yes. I thought this would be his last season. So offensive line, I think.
So you're gonna have a hole at right guard.
I think it'll be definitely something that needs to be addressed. I think the D-line would also be first pick. I would pick a running back. I think that's the biggest hole on our.
So you would take a running back in the first round?
I think we need a running back first. We need a wide receiver 2 second.
Yeah.
Then we need a D lineman. Then we need.
So offensively, it's basically you're saying, like, fundamentally speaking, you would address offense first.
Yes.
Okay. I could see that.
Then then after the wide receiver, I think we need a D lineman because, like I said, Mozzie Smith has proven. I don't think he's me personally, like, just from watching him at Michigan, right? I don't think the kind of D tackle he is fits what y'all are trying to do. Me personally. Well, the thing is, he should be because he wasn't a D lineman who got a lot of pressure on the quarterback and got a lot of sacks.
No, That's
not the D lineman. We need a D lineman to stuff up the middle, stop the run,
right,
and be that tight. And I thought that's what he was supposed to be.
I think he's more so, like, me personally, I think he's more so schemed for like a 3-4 rather than, because y'all still kind of running a Tampa 2 a little bit. Again, and maybe he just isn't translating well to the NFL. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I haven't watched enough tape on Mozzie, but okay. So you would address offense first. You would take a running back first, which I get. So let's also assume in this scenario,
I would take a running back first.
Right.
I would not draft a wide receiver 2. I'd go after a wide receiver 2 in free agency. Then draft.
What's y'all's cap space looking like? Is it going to be?
We have so much cap space
for this. Okay.
Because of because with the cap space we saved by re-signing Dak and CD was all the money we used that we could have used earlier in the offseason had they actually got those deals done. So now since they did them so late, we just have a plethora of money.
Okay, so you would address wide receiver 2 in free agency,
and that's one. But we're not going.
But Jerry, right.
And that's the funny thing about it. People, especially when it comes to the main criticism. That when it comes to Dak is his play and everything, but it's the contract. That's what ties everything together. He's got made the highest paid player, and so people hate that
for now.
But people, it doesn't. Can a Cowboys fan tell me? Because at one point, I don't know if anyone remembers, but Dak was a 4th round pick.
Yes,
meaning for his first 4 years, he was on a rookie deal. On the cheapest side of the rookie deal. Almost as cheap as you could possibly get a starting quarterback in the NFL. Right. What did we do with that money? What free agents did we sign when we had money to? Nobody. Right. So why do y'all think that if Dak takes a pay cut, we're just going to use that money to sign?
Well, that whole notion of dudes taking pay cuts and stuff, that needs to stop, all right?
Facts. Because it's never going to happen.
It's not, right. Like, teams will sell you. Dude, look, the Chiefs signed Patrick Mahomes to a 10-year, $500 million deal to make sure we brought back Tyreek Hill. He's gone. Tyrann Mathieu, he's gone. Right? Chris Jones, he's on a 1-year deal now, isn't he? I think he resigned after, but he was on a 1-year deal initially, right? Like, he almost left. Right, like stop, man! Come on, dude. These NFL teams know what they're doing, bro.
And the notion of
they don't.
And the notion of the highest paid player. That's just how the NFL
that's the market.
Works.
That's the market.
If you have a top 10 quarterback who's due for a contract, he's most likely going to be the highest paid player.
Purdy is going to top
until the next player gets paid. That's just how it works.
Brock Purdy is literally going to top Dak.
I've literally seen people say, "What has he done to be the highest paid player ever?"
Dak,
what he did was be top 10 in a league that makes the newest paid player the highest paid player ever. That's what he did to earn that.
Yeah,
because that's all it takes to earn that in this NFL.
Right.
No, being the highest paid player in the NFL history does not mean he's the greatest quarterback of NFL history, or that he's earned like. There's just no correlation between the two in terms of like greatness,
right?
Because that's just it's a business, it's a market, and you're not really paid based off what like winning Super Bowls and like that's not what gets you paid,
right?
Just putting your team in the position to be able to compete for a Super Bowl, to compete for in the playoffs, to compete for playoff spots is what gets you paid.
If you are viewed as better than majority of your peers, you're going to get a really good deal. That's just the reality situation. Right. That's the NFL market nowadays, bro. That's just what it is, man. All right? Like, look, Trevor Lawrence got paid. Tua got paid. Both got paid prematurely, in my opinion. Brock Purdy is about to get paid. I believe Brock Purdy does deserve to get paid. We'll see. I mean, he might mess around and get $70 million. Right? That's just the reality of the situation.
Give it probably
what you about to say?
10, 15, maybe 20. You're going to see a $100 million contract for an NFL quarterback.
You know what?
The way the TV rights, the way the salary cap keeps increasing, just the way the money keeps flooding into this league. That's just how it works.
That'll be a scary day. Jesus. No, but you're right. But okay, hold on. So back to my scenario, right? Okay, all right. Now, I'm also assuming at this point Mike McCarthy's gone, Mike Zimmer's gone, right? So who would you want the Cowboys to realistically bring in to be the head coach and possibly the DC offensive coordinator, all that jazz?
I mean, you've said it about you want
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson. What he is doing right now in Detroit,
right,
it's beautiful.
Yes,
for your team to have 50 plus points and your quarterback has 85 yards.
Yeah.
That's just I don't think I could ever imagine a Cowboys offense looking like that. I've never seen anything like that.
He is a magician. He's a magician flat out.
That's really defensively, I would even be okay with Mike Zimmer getting another chance if
what if y'all got a few more players? If y'all got,
because it's really hard for me to. I'm not as much of a defensive guy, so I don't really know how schemes work as much as I do offensively. So it's kind of hard for me to know why our run scheme is so bad defensively.
I mean, I don't know. I'd have to go look at the film again.
I know that it could be like Donovan Wilson in what they're like what he's being asked to do in the scheme.
Yeah,
he's not good enough for.
He's not because is he playing in the box a lot? They got him playing in the box a lot.
He absolutely and that was a strength of his before, but
you also had Jaron Curse last year, right? To help. Yeah, so
he's just being asked to cover a lot. Yeah, and I just don't know if he's capable of that. So maybe some new players in would be better at what Zimmer's asking them to do,
right?
Rather than a new coach coming in asking these players to do different things. But
I mean,
I just know
something ain't right.
Right.
So a lot of things ain't right in Dallas right now. Yeah, nah, man. I mean, yeah, I don't know. The reality is there's a lot of questions that need to be answered and a lot of things that need to be addressed in Dallas. And, again, I keep referencing back to this conversation I had with my coworker. But, to me, what I think is happening in Dallas, I think Jerry Jones, I think he sees all the issues. They're over there, right? But he just keeps walking. Right? He just nope, nope, tunnel vision, nope, I'm going. You know what I'm saying? And it's dude, you can only do that for so long, bro. You can only do that for so long. You can bring back the ghost of Ezekiel Elliott, right? And see what you got out of there. You can not address the O-line or sort of address the O-line, but you draft guys and have them playing out of position. You can, play chicken with your star players and wait to pay CD until after training camp. You can not bring guys into free agency. You can. I guess you can only do that for so long, right? But I guess if you're the Cowboys, if you're in Jerry's mind, no, we're good. We're the richest franchise in sports. We're good, right? We're making money. It's fine, right? I don't know. There's a lot of things that need to be addressed in Dallas. I don't know. I don't know if that happens as long as Jerry Jones is in there, man. Yeah.
I think what needs to be done is not too difficult. I think he should be able to draft players that we need in free agency. It's a matter of whether he does it. This season, there's a trade deadline that's coming
next
up.
week.
He can make moves.
Next week.
It's all about what he wants for the team. If he actually, because he can say all he wants the team to win. He wants the team to win. Talk. But if he's not making moves to see that, it makes it seem like you're just okay with the team losing as long as you're making money, like you said. So. Right.
And trade deadline's next week, so we'll find out. But speaking of the trade deadline, there's been some moves. there's been a few moves since last week, man. Let's get right to it. D-Hop is a Chief. Yeah. Your initial thoughts?
I think he's been on the decline as a player, but it's definitely.
Do you really?
Absolutely. But okay. I think it's definitely a positive for the Chiefs. It's only gonna help them. Yeah. It's not like the Jet situation where their quarterback is really bad. Quite the opposite, actually. So yeah, their quarterback is really good. So it might even help DeAndre Hopkins not look like he's been on the decline.
I really think that I think him going to the Chiefs is going to revitalize his career, bro. I really do. He had 1,000 yards last year, but it don't even feel like it, right? Patrick Mahomes is literally going to be the best quarterback he's ever played with.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right? And Andy Reid is your coach. Dude, DeAndre Hopkins, and they got Xavier Worthy, so you got your deep threat down the field, right? You got the guy that can stretch. DeAndre Hopkins can do everything else, and you still got, Travis Kelce, it sounds like he's starting to get warmed up a little bit now, but you still got Travis Kelce. I don't know how good, Juju had a good game against, I can't remember, but whatever, right? My point is, if you're DeAndre Hopkins, you're in the perfect situation. To me, at least. Yeah, definitely. You know what I'm saying? I look forward to seeing him. He didn't really play that much last week, but Andy Reid literally came out and said today, no, you're going to see more of him against the Bucs. So I look forward to seeing that. I definitely look forward to seeing that D-Hop and Patrick Mahomes connection. Another wide receiver trade that went down earlier today, actually, Diontae Johnson is a Baltimore Raven. Now, when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay.
That doesn't move the needle.
It doesn't move at all. It doesn't like move like. It's not like a oh my god like Baltimore's making like it's not like the like win it all move, but like it's getting Lamar another target. Yeah. And Diontae Johnson, like when healthy and I guess when in a decent situation, he's performed pretty well, right? Like in Pittsburgh, he had pretty good seasons. He was a lead receiver a few seasons. He got traded to the Panthers, and that didn't work out. But we'll see what he does in Baltimore.
Now he's a better receiver than these guys I'm about to name. At the time that, like, this is where they were relevant for this conversation. But the initial reaction that I got from it was the same that I got from when you guys signed Julio last year and Jahan Dotson this year. I don't think it will it'll have very minimal effect in my opinion.
Yeah. That's what you think? Like, you don't think? Okay.
Now, I think that Diontae Johnson is better than Julio when y'all got him and Jahan Dotson now, but I just don't.
God, Jahan Dotson, he hasn't done nothing with us, but
I just don't see it.
You don't see it like doing anything for them offensively, like really, like I guess you just see it as another body, really.
Yes,
that's fair. I think, me personally, I think Lamar Jackson has found his number one receiver in Rashad Bateman. They seem to be, forming a connection more and more each game. He's connected with him on some deep throws a few times the past few games. So I think Rashad Bateman is slowly but surely starting to become that number one receiver they drafted him to be. I think Diontae Johnson, he can definitely be their third guy, right? Because Zay Flowers is definitely probably their number two. He's definitely their best deep threat, right? I think Diontae Johnson can definitely get in there and be a top 3 wide receiver in that offense, I feel like. And they're not going to ask him to do too much, right? Like, it's not like he's carrying the load, right? You got 2 very capable tight ends in Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. You got Rashad Bateman and Zay Flowers on the outside. And on top of that, you got the best running game in football in Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. Right, like Diontae Johnson should come in and really fit seamlessly because they shouldn't. I mean, it ain't like he's gonna be asked, "Hey, you got to get 10 catches a game. You got to do all this and that." No, man, just come in, be another option for Lamar, and help spread the wealth even more. Right, help spread the defense out a little bit more. That's how I view it. I do think it's a positive move. I do think Lamar has a new target, obviously. I think Diontae Johnson can help the offense even more. And he's kind of similar to Zay Flowers a little bit in terms of body type and receiver type. So I think he can help Zay Flowers grow and develop a little bit more. I like that move for the Ravens for sure.
It's just crazy to me that 2 teams that most people would consider, 2 of the best teams in the NFL as before the trades, decided to, hey, this might not. Right. This might not. Just because we're good right now doesn't mean we shouldn't try to get better.
AKA Jerry, what are you doing?
It's just once you. I don't understand how you can look across the league and think you can be different when other teams have had success and you haven't. Right. And so we're going to talk about the Vikings game, but I want to I can use this as a transition to it because something that really aggravates me when it comes to talking about sports, especially when you lose, is that our offense is archaic. Yes, Dak had 2 bad picks. Yes, our defense couldn't stop anything. Yes, Jerry Jones didn't put enough. But that does not mean that the referees are allowed to just be bad at their job, and we should not be able to say anything about it.
Was there a bad call in the Cowboys game? To be honest,
Kittle's touchdown was a clear as day offensive pass interference.
The pick, yeah.
That play changed the course of the game. And also at the end of the game on our last play, in my opinion, there was a defensive pass interference, and neither one of them were called. But because we lost and because we played bad throughout the game, we're just
y'all looked at it as blaming the refs.
Yes, multiple things can be true. Right. I hate that. And in this against this Vikings game,
that was horrible.
They straight up cheated them out of
they hosed the Vikings,
and it's always that because it's always like they didn't cheat them. Like there have been plays where it's like, oh no, they could have won.
Yes,
but it's just that because on that play it was a safety in the end zone.
Yep.
And so there's no guarantee that they score after that. There's no guarantee we stop George Kittle even if they call that.
Right.
But it's. You still have to.
You robbed them of the opportunity,
yes,
right?
They were robbed of the opportunity. That was his whole head turned.
Yes.
In the end, I don't know. The defender literally put his hands on his head like I messed up.
For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, I would assume you do, but if you don't, the Vikings, right? The Vikings played the Rams, and it was a pretty tight game most of the way, fourth quarter. And the Vikings were down, I think by I think they were down by 3.
They were down by less than they were down by a touchdown or less.
Yes.
It was a 1-possession game.
Yeah, 1-possession game, and the Vikings got backed up in literally in their own end zone, and Sam Darnold drops back for a pass, and Byron Young, one of the Rams pass rushers, he sacks him, but in the event of sacking him, I'm holding my Eagles replica helmet. Just for those of you watching on YouTube, he literally
turned his whole head.
And the ref is right there. Like he's right there.
Doesn't call it safety.
Nobody says it.
Ends the game.
Sam Darnold was obviously hot. I would have been hot too. And you know what? I'm gonna say it. I feel like coaches should be able to challenge missed calls.
I agree.
Especially in crucial moments of the game like that. Dude, there's no way you can't call that.
I agree.
Like, that's insane. Like, if I'm Kevin O'Connell, like, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to the league the next day. Y'all owe me an explanation. Y'all, there's no way.
If that was like a basketball, I wouldn't getting a tech if I'm the coach. Because, I don't know. Things like that, that it just it lets me know I am too emotional to be in a position because I would be completely unhinged.
Oh, I can't. Yeah,
if I was actually a part of the team that happened to.
Right.
Because you have a job to do as a referee,
and we understand there's human error, but the ref was standing right there.
Right.
He was right there in the field of play. You can't miss that call,
and that's
man.
why I agree with the replay and the challenge. I don't think that they should just be able to miss calls like that.
No.
The whole thing with New York and I think New York should be in this something like that.
Right.
I think New York should be able to come back.
Yes.
Nope, face mask. That was a face mask.
That should be what New York is for.
Right.
Right? That should be what New York is for. Hey, you missed this. You got to call this.
Right.
This is literally the end of the game. That missed play could determine the outcome, which it did, really. Because, the Vikings, at that point, they scored a safety. It was over.
Right.
It was over. So, yeah, man. Shout out to the Vikings, man. Sam Darnold, Kevin O'Connell. I'm sorry y'all got hoes like that, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. Also, on that, I will say, where are you at on the Vikings and the Rams? Did you come away from that game thinking, okay, are the Vikings actual pretenders, or maybe the Rams are just better than what we thought?
I think the Vikings are coming down to earth a little bit.
Okay.
I think the Rams, they're getting healthier.
Yes.
So they got Puka and Cooper back
yep.
a couple of, a game or two ago. So now they're just probably building momentum off that. So I think that helps. So I think that just kind of leveled. What kind of brought them to the same level? Just the Vikings coming back down to earth and the Rams getting a little healthier. So I think going forward, the Vikings, they're more than pretenders, but I still think they're not the best.
They're not
team in
an upper echelon team to you yet.
Well, I just don't think they're the best NFC team right now.
Oh no, not right now. That's Detroit, and that's easy.
I think I think they'd have a lot of close games with some of the better teams in the NFC.
Yeah,
and have just as good of a chance of losing them.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that. Not for me. I don't think the Vikings are pretenders. I think they played a healthy Rams team, and to me, honestly, I guess the Rams are just better than what I anticipated. Right, even last year, right? They overachieved this year. Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, all these trade rumors, you know what I'm saying, swirling around. Puka Nacua goes out the first 4 or 5 games of the season. Aaron Donald retires. Right, what are the Rams gonna do? And they've just come out here and they've been steady Eddie, slowly but surely improving each week, winning these tight games. Excuse me. Yeah, I think the Rams were just. I think they're going to be a team to be reckoned with down the road in the playoffs. I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender or anything, but they're definitely a team that'll throw a wrench into a lot of other teams' plans. I don't think the Vikings, like I said, I don't think they're pretenders, but I do feel you. Like I think they're a step below. Yeah, obviously a step below Detroit. They played Detroit. They lost. I probably even honestly, I'm gonna hesitantly say a step below us right now, but like they're a step ahead of the 49ers because I don't believe in the 49ers. Who else? The Commanders. To me, they're probably on par with the Commanders. If I had to pick a team that like they would gauge well with,
it hurts to say, but shout out to we gotta talk about that. I don't want to say shout out to the Commanders because Noah Brown, I'm disgusted with you.
Are you disgusted with him because he's a former Cowboy?
Every Cowboys fan got immediate flashbacks when watching Noah Brown just stand in the middle of the end zone and catch that ball.
That thing.
Got immediate flashbacks of Noah Brown against the Jacksonville Jaguars getting hit directly in his hands in an overtime pass,
Jenkins picked it
bobbling up the ball, and us losing that game, and Dak Prescott having to freaking get killed in the media and throughout the NFL for that.
Right. No, I remember that play.
I've never forgiven Noah Brown for that, so to see him come and just – and that's why a lot of things are just luck. And
yes.
At the end of the day, some things are just
Did you watch that live?
Oh, yeah. Me and my parents were watching it live.
Dude.
I was just like, because I remember watching the drive. I remember the entire drive, and I remember Tony Romo, there was probably like 5 seconds left.
Yep.
And he was saying before the play, he was like, oh, just throw a little quick out route, take some time off. And I remember thinking,
that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, and I remember thinking, like, oh, they don't have enough time for that. And they did it perfectly. And then he dropped back, and then the craziest part, I'm pretty sure you've seen it since then. I don't know the guy's name.
Tyreek,
yes.
Tyreek Stevenson. I'm gonna say this right now. I'm gonna say this right now. Matt Eberflus, the head coach of the Chicago Bears, should be gone. Shane Waldron, the offensive coordinator, should be gone. If I'm Ryan Poles, if I'm Ryan Poles, the GM, because I like Ryan Poles, the GM. Everybody is gone, bro. Clean house. Let me ask you something.
Wait. Why? What did they do?
I'm gonna get to it.
What about Tariq?
No. I'm gonna get to it. Trust me. I'm gonna get to it. Let me ask you something. Why does your player, because as you say, coaches are responsible for the players, right?
No.
On the field, they're playing on the field. They're not responsible for that.
There's nobody that's responsible for those actions. What?
No.
That is him.
Sorry. It's him, but why does he think that's okay to do?
Because how can he not? Well, it's not. That's like.
To me, I view that as your player is not locked in enough to say, okay, this is the last play of the game. Let me make sure I am locked in and I'm doing what I need to do. That's on Tyreek Stevenson, and he should be benched. He should be fine, whatever. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he shouldn't be. But I'm just looking at that as Matt Eberflus. Why does your guy think that's okay? I'm not going to – that's me.
I think there should be consequences, but you can't control a player.
No, you can't control what he's doing.
You can't – you don't even know.
Do you see what I'm saying, though?
It'd be different if it was multiple people. One player acting a fool. That's just one renegade being an idiot.
To me, Matt Eberflus should be fired because I don't think he's a good coach. I don't think he's a good leader of men. Me personally, I never have.
That's like
I felt like that ever since I watched the Hard Knocks with the Bears. Like I just don't feel like Matt Eberflus is a good leader of men. Now let me get to Shane Waldron. Because did you watch the game?
I didn't watch the whole game. I pretty much
Did you watch the fourth quarter?
I saw some of it.
Did you see when the Bears were on the 1 yard line and Shane Waldron decided to call a dive play? Now, Lando, you think you're on the 1 yard line, you're going to run a dive with your running back, right? Maybe even a QB sneak with Caleb Williams, right?
I mean,
that's not what they did, Lando. You know what they did?
I would run it with anybody. right there. A fullback, a running back.
He ran a dive.
Not a lineman. He
ran a dive with a third string right guard. Okay. And what, Lando? Guess what happened? He fumbled the ball.
I don't hate it. I wouldn't want it.
Oh, man, get out of here.
I don't hate it. You just think you can just give it to a big guy and he just bum rush his way through. But
are you kidding me?
Yeah, him fumbling, see, like that. That I could see you being mad at the coach for putting a player in that position where he shouldn't be. I'm mad at Shane Waldron for thinking that's... I can understand that.
Dude, no, I'm sorry.
Because you're not expecting your right guard to have ball security, the ball security of a running back.
Why would you even think that's the play to call right there?
Like I said, I get the thinking like a big fat guy is just going to be able to run everybody over.
No.
But then I feel like that's the risk. He does not have the ball security of a running. He has the size to where he's way bigger than a running back to where he just has to fall over. But then you lose the speed and the.
I genuinely believe Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears will be really, really good in the future. The only thing they're missing is a competent coaching staff, in my opinion. I don't think Matt Eberflus is a good coach. I work with multiple Bears fans who express the same sentiment. Tyreek Stevenson, you should be ashamed of yourself for that. You made a mistake, eat it, whatever. I think he should be benched and fine. I don't think he should be cut.
I wouldn't cut him. I would have paid like a little, like $10-15 to like get a live feed of the film room.
Oh God!
Just after the next day, just to see like what do you say to a guy like that?
Nothing. You don't. I don't even know what you say. Hey, bro. Like take this. I don't think
I've ever seen anything like that.
That's legit. Oh man,
because it's not even the fact that he was taunting them and then the play happened. He was taunting them, realized that the play was happening, dude, ran over, and he was the one who tipped
the ball to Noah Brown. Like, the funniest reaction I saw to this was Jason McCourty, former Patriots great, right? He was on NBC and Sunday Night Football, and they're talking about it, and he's watching it. He goes, This dude is like walking. He said, "This dude is chirping with the fans. Those guys are running down the field."
Literally, the fans were pointing like, "Hey, the play."
Hey, dude, Tyreek Stevenson, bro. Like, I'm sorry, dog. Like,
I guess on the outside, if that happened to like say Donovan Wilson, I would be calling for him to get cut.
Would you? Yeah, no, yeah.
Well, maybe it's also because he's not playing well. So it's like, say if Micah
bro,
did that,
just give me a reason.
Like,
right?
if it was Micah, then yes, I would be like, yeah, he needs to be fined and he needs to be benched for the first drive in the next game. Yes. Like, but
no, that's atrocious.
Yeah,
you can't do that. But speaking of benchings, did you hear the news about Anthony Richardson today?
Bench for Joe Flacco.
Now, let me just say this: and I don't know what possessed Anthony Richardson to come out and say what he said, but the man literally called out of a game because he was tired.
Yeah. I don't think that's something else I don't think I've ever really seen.
I'm not gonna lie. You know what? I immediately thought of Jamarcus Russell for a second. Like, that's something he would have said. Anthony Richardson, dog. Come on, man. You're tired. You don't think the old lineman that's been blocking for you all game are tired? You don't think the running backs that have been taking all these hits are tired? Receivers, tight ends, your defense, you don't think they're tired? Come on, man.
I mean, there are a lot of other positions on the field that get to take a player or two off.
Yeah, but not the quarterback, dog, unless you actually hurt.
Right. That's what it's like.
You're supposed to be the leader. You're supposed to lead us. You talking about you tired?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Like, come on. And maybe it was just a brain fart on his part, right? Maybe he just.
I mean, if he was like, what if he just could not catch his breath and he was actually tired? I mean, they should call timeout or something. But
call timeout. Ask the offensive coordinator to hey call a run play here, bro. Please, I just can't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just come on, man.
Because for me, I'd look at it as like, for him to actually do that, he must have been like
tired.
Like he was about to pass out if he did not get a break right now.
Man, I just, yeah, no. There's better ways to handle that, bro. Like
That's true.
Ask your coach. I don't know what the situation was exactly, but ask, can we call a timeout here? Shane Steichen, the head coach, can we call a timeout here real quick? Can we get a run play in? Can we get a few run plays? I need to catch my brother, right? Whatever. There's better ways to handle that, and he did not handle that the best. He got benched for Joe Flacco. Now, they didn't say if this was going to be like for the rest of the season or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it was, because Anthony Richardson, while he showed flashes, right, he hasn't been like amazing so far, right? So maybe he just needs to take a little bit and just sit back, learn from Super Bowl champion, veteran quarterback Joe Flacco, who's done it at a high level for a very long time. But yeah, no, Anthony Richardson, come on, dog. You got to be better than that. Any young QBs watching, anybody that saw that, I hope you know now. Don't come to me talking about you tired, bro. Don't do it. Like, if you tired, you sit down. Like, because I guarantee you that's what a coach's mindset is at right now. If you tell him you're tired, you go, all right, bro, don't even come back in. Go ahead and sit down.
Take all the rest you need.
Right.
You got plenty of time to rest now.
Oh,
Anthony.
yeah, you're good now. You're good. Go ahead, you're good. No, let me find somebody that wants to play. That's what they're going to say, right? That's exactly what they're going to say. That's what they're going to think. So, Anthony Richardson, I hope you learn from this, man. I really hope you learn from it. Be better for it. Or be better after it, right? You can't be better for it now. Yeah, no, man. But, there's a lot of moving pieces right now in the NFL. Trade deadline, like we've mentioned before, next week. I know, you're not optimistic at all about y'all making any moves.
I don't have any names, Jerry.
Nothing.
Do something. Do something. Anything. I don't have a single name for you.
If you, Lando, could pick just one trade to happen.
I don't have a single name
you
for you.
You can't pick one?
Jerry, dude. I would be happy with him making any move that would improve. If it was an upgrade at any player that he just showed that he was trying to do anything.
Yeah.
I can't tell you who's available, do something.
What position? Can you give me a position? Just give me a position.
It could be any position. It could be from any position other than a quarterback, because that's just literally any position. A corner, from corner to linebacker to D-line, O-line, running back, wide receiver, not a tight end. We got Jake.
Yeah.
Safety, anything.
Yeah. You just want something.
Just show me you agree.
Show me you care.
You agree that this team is not good enough, and you want it to be better for us to be better down the line.
Right. Well, I guess we'll find out next week, right?
Right.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap on episode 9 of Birds at the Rodeo.
Almost at double digits.
Almost, yeah. Next week, man. Next week. Shout out. We gonna hit 10. We gonna hit 10. Thank you all for everybody who's watching on YouTube.
Yep.
Thank you to everybody that's listening via Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Podcast Index, whatever. Literally wherever you can find podcasts, you can find us now. Okay. Again, we're on YouTube, so please like, comment, subscribe. Not only on the channel, but on the podcast too.
Turn the notification bell on.
Turn that bell on. You feel me?
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We're about to start getting these clips rolling.
Yes, we are. You're going to see our faces everywhere. Hey, man, like I said, thank you so much. I'm sure I speak for me and Lando when I say we appreciate y'all tuning in and listening every week. Yeah, man. Hey, I'm Eric, your residential Eagles fan.
I'm Orlando, the resident Cowboys fan.
And this is Birds at the Rodeo. Peace.
Later.
Jamal with a stroke of genius.